Welcome back to another trend forecasting video. I'm going to be sharing my fashion forecast for 2022. I can't believe this is my 4th year doing a fashion forecasting video. I hope you guys liked looking back on 2021. If you haven't catched that video, I'll leave right here. I also have it linked below as well. Let's get into the 2022 tea. Oh my god. So as you know, if you are familiar with these trend forecasting videos, I really love to dive in, analyze, and see what's really going down in the zeitgeist, why these trends are emerging, and that's kind of how I predict what trends are going to be the strongest. I tend to get things right a lot of the time, not to be cocky or anything, but you know, I'm not just here talking out of my behind. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So let's just talk about these big ideas. What is the most important thing to our culture right now? And what are the emotions as consumers that we're having? So obviously, the number one thing that's on all of our minds is the pandemic. We're still dealing with emotions. I think a lot of us in some ways are traumatized. It's a very traumatizing experience. So we're still trying to figure out the uncertainty of it all while also still hanging on to some hope. So maybe there's like some kind of optimism there. There's a bit of escapism there, or also looking backwards in terms of like feeling very nostalgic for simpler times, and that's still a form of escapism. So I think escapism is a recurring theme that we're gonna see again influence our fashion. And of course, health and wellness is something that we're all very concerned about. We just want to feel healthy, and a reconnection with nature is still going to be a running theme. So a lot of stuff that's stemming from last year, I think it's going to continue only because we're still in this pandemic. But I'm going to break it down. We're going to get specific into some fun trends that I think we'll be seeing. And I just wanted to point out that those are kind of like the biggest overall sentiment that we're feeling as a culture. Let's jump into my first umbrella, which is complete chaos. I definitely talked about this anything goes, mixing of prints and patterns. Like, we haven't seen this much print in a really long time. We haven't seen this much color in a really long time, and this is again tying from the escapism, this uplifting mood. But we're gonna have things kind of across the board. This is why I'm saying it's like complete chaos. We like colors that are very soothing, very cleansing. On the other side of the spectrum, really strong, bold colors. You're seeing a tranquil blue, but you're also seeing an electric blue. You're seeing a nice little sage cleansing green, and then on the other end you're seeing very neon, very like mossy, bright green as well. So we're going to be seeing these very sharp contrasts. And then we're also going to be seeing a lot of hybrid dressing. So think seasonless kind of dressing, like you can go from summer to winter in a very easy transitional way. Since a lot of us are still working from home, think even from working at home to play, right? Like maybe going into the outdoors, just very transitional dressing. I think that's what consumers are craving because that is what our lifestyle is like right now. So also in this complete chaos, we're going to be seeing a lot of early 2000s. Even though I've been talking about early 2000s for a few years now, I feel like it really made a big splash in 2021, and I only see it getting bigger. So obviously Y2K was very chaotic. Think Ashley Tisdale on the red carpet. Think all of these like crazy layers. But also I think TikTok fashion is very chaotic as well. And I think it's gonna just be this really creative way. I know I'm saying chaotic and it sounds like a negative thing, but I think it's gonna be very creative. It's gonna be a really fun place to be in fashion actually. So I'm looking forward to this, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody's personal style really come out. You know, I'm big on personal style. So let's talk about some specific items I think we'll be seeing. The comeback of the cargo pant in a capri, or like in a crop. Think J-Lo from Jenny from the Block video, like the way she wore her cargos. I don't know what they're gonna call it, okay? I just feel like that silhouette is gonna make a splash in 2022. I also touched on dresses over pants. I think specifically the way like I had showed you guys in the winter trends 2022. If you haven't checked out that video, I would definitely recommend it, because a lot of those trends that I said in the winter, that's why I called it winter 2022, even though I uploaded it in 2021, because all of those trends I was really looking forward. You know, I'm not talking about what's going down in December. I was talking about what was gonna be relevant in 2022 as well. I would definitely recommend watching that video because I don't want to talk too much about those trends again, since I already dedicated my time to doing it on that video. So dresses over the pants, skirts over the pants. I think specifically we're gonna be seeing like a monochrome kind of styling. I had mentioned this in that video, like I was saying, and I recently saw Hervé Leger, this type of silhouette, this kind of styling, not the Ashley Tisdale on the red carpet, more this kind of sophisticated, even like the ballet skirts that you wrap over stretchy yoga pants. That's gonna be more of the vibe for 2022. Also in this complete chaos. So a lot of shirts that are not actually shirts. I've seen a lot of girls on TikTok make tops out of tights, and I think it's so cool. I've been meaning to try it out. Let's try it together on YouTube. I'm gonna try to copy a tutorial or something on TikTok and make one of those shirts because I think they're so dope, and you don't need to have a lot of money, and it can be so unique to you just depending on, you know, the socks that you get, the way that you tie it, and you can really just like fit your body as is. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot of this kind of like DIY spirit. I know I had mentioned it last year, and now that I'm really thinking about it, I'm like, I think there was actually quite a bit of DIY, so I wasn't really wrong there. But I think we're going to continue to see more DIYs and also a lot of this layering looks. I actually just received, I shopped the Essence sale and I got this top. Okay, I'm gonna leave a photo of it here. And when I got it, it was like all in pieces. And I'm like, oh, okay, so I have to like figure out how to put this on. And I've been seeing a lot of tops like this. So I think this kind of layering, what are they called? I wish I had like the technical term for it. So the last trend that I have here under this complete chaos, Y2K meets TikTok fashion, graphic tees are gonna come in heavy, very ironic sayings and just very kitschy. But also I do see ringer tees specifically coming back into our lives. So the next trend umbrella that I have is the green cleanse. So go in green. This means like several things to me, okay? Not just the color, because obviously the color is going to continue very strong, but I think like sustainability, I think going back to nature, as I've been talking about for many years now. I mentioned sustainability, and every year I'm probably going to talk about sustainability because I feel like every year we make a little bit more progress. Like the reselling model is bigger than ever. I think ThredUp, the business ThredUp, I think I saw that their projection was like in the billions, which is insane. You can just see like where we're going with this. Obviously repairs, like DIYs and all of that, and then the way like designers are going into their stockpile. I just had to mention it because this definitely ties into this going green. Even vintage right now is like, I've never seen so many people hyped and appreciative of vintage. Like people get so excited when celebrities are wearing archival fashion. I think there's definitely way more appreciation for vintage, and I think this also has to do with, you know, just like reusing what you have. Oh, also Angelina Jolie putting her old gowns on her daughters. Like even that is like a telling sign. It's like, oh wow, we can rewear clothes. Like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like we're moving into that realm even at the celebrity level. So I think we're gonna be seeing more celebrities rewear outfits. As sad as I am to see it, I'm also here for it, obviously. It's like a breath of fresh air, and obviously I'm obsessed with everybody obsessed with vintage because I'm like, finally, welcome to my world, bitch. Like I love the freaking 90s. When you discover the 90s archives, you're like, what the hell happened to fashion, man? Like it used to be so exciting. Definitely gonna be more people kind of eBaying, Poshmarking, Depoping, the Stare Collective, the Real, looking for these more vintage pieces. And I think this also correlates to that nostalgia vibe that I was talking about in the beginning of this video. I put people really getting down with the vintage on my slide. Yeah, for sure. Like I mentioned with this green cleanse, we're looking for colors that are very soothing, comforting, and because we are seeking comfort during these uncertain times, I think also the materials are going to reflect that. So materials that have more of a lustrous tan, things that are cozy. Like I really love, there's like this certain blend, it's like cotton and modal. Oh my god, get yourself some cotton and modal blend and it's the coziest. I think some of my pajamas are that, and I just sleep like an absolute baby. And I've been seeing it come up, I think I mentioned it in my winter video, like it's that top that I was wearing was just so soft, and it makes me want to put it on because obviously it's comfy. I'm working from home as well. So I think there's going to be an increase in those certain materials, and also materials that don't really crease. Performance fabric with fashionable silhouettes. Just think soft, flexible, comfortable fabrics you don't have to iron. Just comfort, baby. So my next umbrella is Decadence. Me and my friend are always saying decadence, luxury. So this is Decadence. You know, digital, get down. It meets decadent, even a little bit avant-garde. So it's gonna be, again, this mix. Everything is gonna be a mix this year if you haven't caught on. So this is kind of like my cyber fashion moments, right? I talked about this again in the Winter Trends 2022. So watch that video, but it's basically this otherworldly trend. Cyberpunk, very dystopian kind of view. A lot of, like I mentioned, the colors are gonna be very technical, like neon, and I feel like this trend is a look into the future with kind of like a dystopian view. There's still a ton of hesitation, with reason, of course, of granting so many permissions. How many times I have to like allow freaking cookies? I'm just giving my cookies away like nobody's business. I'm like, I want to go on your website, let me accept the damn cookies. And I just don't even know what that really means at times. And then it's like these targeted ads are getting so freaking specific. I've heard so many people talk about, like, you just think about something and it appears, you know, as a sponsored ad for you. So obviously our technology is knowing us better than we know ourselves at this point, and who knows what the advances are going to be for the future. So that's why I'm saying, like, I think this is more like a dystopian kind of view. It's a little bit more darker kind of a world. And then also I feel like it can be kind of like this escapism from reality, which again to me sounds kind of dystopian. That's why I'm putting it here. But maybe to some people it is this like relief from reality. But I think we're going to be kind of like diving into these like virtual realities a little bit more in terms of like creating your online presence. You're kind of seeing this a little bit with NFTs. Trust me, I'm not going to get into what an NFT is. All I know is that a lot of people are making digital fashion through these NFTs and like really building this little wardrobe, like this little archive, like your little collection for your avatar to wear or just for you to have. And I think a lot of big designers are also like dipping their toe in it, trying to figure out how they're going to show up in this digital NFT kind of a world. So it's better to start early. Everybody knows that. It's better to like at least dip in. Maybe you're not going to like full throw all your freaking money into this NFT, but at least get yourself started in it, especially since we don't really know what like the future holds. So I think there's going to be more of this digital clothes. I mean, even Miss J Alexander, you know, Miss J from Top Model even has a collection, a digital clothing collection. Like, what? You already know the meme. So I definitely think we're going to be seeing more. And the reason why I bring this up, I know it's not like a specific trend that we can wear, but I do think you can get so creative with the digital clothes. Like, you really have no restraints, you know what I mean? There's not like fabric that you can't have. There's not shapes or silhouettes that you can't manipulate. It's all digital, so you can really go ham. I think it can kind of be like life imitating art. So maybe you see like this crazy silhouette that you thought could never be done, but I don't know, I feel like that can inspire designers as well. And I think it could be kind of like a nice little gauge of what people are gravitating towards as well. I know this is probably like way too much into the future. I'm gonna look back on this video next year and be like, that never went down, but like maybe in 2025 I'm like, okay, like I was onto something. But so I think that's kind of like where we're headed. You know, a prediction is a prediction, baby. And I think designers are gonna play more with this idea too, and try to see how they can get their consumers excited about it or involved in some way. Also in this category, I'm gonna say way more silver jewelry. Funky, think like very medieval. I'll leave some examples here. Space Age 2.0, baby. I had mentioned this on my TikTok of my trend predictions for 2021. So the space age in the 60s was really looking at innovation. They were looking at the future, wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, like really excited, especially coming out of, you know, the World War II. I feel like in this pandemic, obviously very traumatizing for our world, we're also looking at the future like wide-eyed and bushy-tailed. That's why I'm saying like there's two views of the future. It can either be like this dystopian view, which is like very uncertain, or it can be this that's very hopeful, optimistic, and like innovations that are gonna help us. This very like utopian outlook on life. So that's what the space age is. Very sparkle, shine, bubbly, very structural silhouettes, very funky. Like I mentioned, the original space age was the 1960s. So you can just take a look at the silhouettes there, even from interiors. I have so many interior books. Like, I love the space age. My home actually, like my downstairs is a little bit space agey. But anyways, you can just kind of think of even the furniture, how it was just so curves and bubbles and circular. So that's what we're going to be seeing a lot of in our fashion as well. So I had mentioned the bubble hem skirts for Emily in Paris. If you guys saw that video, I was like, oh, bubble hems are coming. The area reference that I pulled for Emily, like how it was a little bit more structured. Also in this space age trend, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of reflective materials, a lot of glossy patent materials, patent leathers, just like very metallic vinyls, lame, maybe some lurex threaded in through, you know, some of the knits that we saw a lot of in 2021. Like, I still think knits will have an importance, but maybe they get some lurex knitted in there with it just for like a reflective shine. I also think we're gonna see more glittery bags. I saw a lot of them actually in 2021, like think the Prada bag. So I think we're gonna see the retailers really jump on this glitter bag trend, and we're gonna be seeing more of them. Like, a lot of people are gonna be carrying little glittery beaded bags, sequin bags, sparkle and shine. And we're gonna be seeing more innovation with like silhouette and structure. And they kind of do go hand in hand, the space age and the decadence. So you can either go the dark angel route, or you can go this like Jetson route, right? Space age, I also called out Marc Jacobs in my winter trends video, so that's also a designer to look out for 2022. You can he was definitely inspired by space age, like so bulbous, so cocoon, the puffers. I'm not even gonna mention puffers in this video. You already know they've been here. I don't want to talk too much about things that I've already talked about in past videos. So this new umbrella is probably something that I haven't talked about at all, I think, in any of my trend videos, but I called this one Ballet All Day. And I think it definitely ties into like the softness that we're craving. Like I was talking about, like the soft materials, cozy, comfortable. So that's where I think this ballet trend kind of makes sense of why we're seeing it. You think of a ballerina, what do you think of? I personally think of like soft, delicate, poised, and the ballerina's wardrobe is, I love. So I think it's gonna go mainstream, really something that has been in fashion through the years. I can see the reemergence of the ballet flat. I really love these ones that Lily Rose Depp was wearing. It has like a little bit of a heel. I think it's gonna be kind of like an it shoe. I think we're gonna be seeing more shrugs, like the ballet shrug. I actually had thrifted one, remember, from like my spiciest thrift video. I love that thing. It's so cute. Is it right here? Oh my gosh, yeah, it is right here. This guy. So just like things like this, you know, again, very soft materials. I think it's so fun, and it goes hand in hand with like all of the layering we're seeing, like I mentioned in the chaotic one. I also think that we're going to be seeing a lot of leg warmers. We've already started to see the arm warmers. I think we're going to be seeing leg warmers, but instead of having it be like 80s where it stopped like below the knee, I think they're gonna come up actually like some ballerinas, like I've seen some ballerina leg warmers where they go all the way up to the thigh. And it kind of makes sense with this like micro mini. Oh, I forgot to mention the micro mini, yo. So micro mini is definitely super 60s, also like very Y2K. I think Paris Hilton with like the pleated mini. I mentioned the wrap skirt as well, very ballerina. Also, I think that the American Apparel skater dress is gonna make a comeback. Like lingerie slip dress, but I think it's gonna be in the shape of the American Apparel skater dress. And I just feel like that is super dancer. I mean, it was like literally modeled after, I think, an ice skater dress. I had so many of those. It's the most comfortable, most flattering dress that I had owned in the early 2000s, or when did I get it? I think it was like mid 2000s, honestly, but I can see that making a comeback just with this whole ballerina aesthetic. Also, I think maybe with that same American Apparel skater dress silhouette, they do it in more of a like a wrap skirt situation, so I can kind of see that happening. Actually, Aritzia has one like that right now, and also those like ballerina wrap tops in different materials, like in knits. I can see it in mohair, I can see it in silk. Like there's so many different like soft fabrications that I can see the wrap top in, so I think definitely we'll be seeing more of that. Diane von Furstenberg is like, we back, baby, but we didn't say a wrap dress, girl. All of this really ties into the softer side of things that we're going to be seeing this year. Like I had mentioned in the winter 2022, like very warm and fuzzy, even like a softer color palette. So like a lot of these pastels, like a rosewater pink, a very like watered down tranquil blue. Also under this trend, I have tights. I think leg wear is just gonna have the most importance in 2022. I think we're gonna be seeing a lot of leg wear, whether it be like the leg warmers that I talked about, tights that I'm now mentioning, like you could think Chanel tights or any kind of logo tight, more pattern tights basically is what I'm saying. And also I have here like ruffled mini skirts. So those kind of like 3-tier, 4-tiered kind of ruffly skirts that we saw a lot of in like the early 2000s. And I'm just putting it under this ballerina trend because it's kind of like tutu vibes. So let's move on to the next umbrella and the trends that fall under there. So Rebel with a Cause. This is like my punk pop revival umbrella. I think a lot of people, as I mentioned in that winter 2022 video, sorry I keep doing that, I think there's still going to be a lot of rebellion around establishment, around authority, around corporation. Like I had mentioned in the 2022 winter video about the Great Resignation. I think that's still going to be a continuing theme through 2022. So we already talked about the DIY trend. I think that also correlates into this kind of punk aesthetic. I think safety pins specifically, for some reason, I think safety pins be on a lot of our clothes. Like think Versace, right? Like done right, you know, I love me some Versace. I also think like ties are gonna come back. I mean, Avril Lavigne, of course, like that's why I wore a tie back in the day. I also think like the fingerless gloves, as much as people hated Emily in Paris for those fingerless gloves, I really do see them becoming more of a trend. Be knitted or leather as Emily had them, or even some more delicate ones. I really like the feminine looking ones that have like lace and, you know, a little bit of embellishment. I think those are really, really darling. I just feel like a lot of the trends from that pop punk culture, like the Dickies, the ties, colorful hair, you know, like the darker hair if you're blonde, even like darker eye makeup, honestly, like more of like a raccoon. The graphic tees that I've already mentioned in the Complete Chaos umbrella. We're already going to be seeing a lot of micro minis. So in this trend, I'm gonna say like the plaid pleated skirt. Obviously plaid has its history in the punk movement, like London. Again, a lot of silver jewelry. I think those little like one necklaces that have like silver, like dog tags, I guess you can say, like very that. And then the last umbrella that I have here is pleats, please. I know, I get really cheesy with these, but this is very old money, darling. Old money aesthetic. So obviously preppy, pleats, get it? But think old money vibes. Waspy, country club, yacht club, badminton, fencing, like think those vibes. It already became super popular last year with the tennis skirts and the vests. So just think how much more elevated it's about to get, okay? So I'm thinking a lot of tweed, wool, plaid, stripes, the rugby shirts that never quite made a hit, like when I said, you know what I'm talking about, those striped like polo shirt legit vibes. Just think of all of the sports that like rich people play. I feel like riding boots are gonna be a thing. I think stripes and plaids, of course, like this heritage check print, obviously here. So I think a lot of those classic pieces are gonna be really trendy, like the trench coat that we've already seen. Obviously Letterman jackets, I had mentioned last year, I feel like they didn't quite take off as much as I thought, so I think this year they will. The tie that I definitely think is gonna make a splash this year. Pleated mini skirt, the tights and leg wears here. The ballet flats can even be seen in this. Just all kinds of pearls and pearl necklaces, pearl earrings, like just that very preppy, like dressed up. This old money aesthetic is very clean, very dressed up, very sophisticated, obviously. And I think this also ties directly into like vintage, like this, again, need, even though most of the population can't even relate to old money vibes, but I think people have been really romanticizing the old money aesthetic. It just seems like a better situation than what we're in right now. And you can obviously see how they're all interwoven because of this bigger idea of the sentiment that we're under, as well as the trend cycles. I'm like trying to think, was I like super specific? I don't want to like shy away from like being wrong, because a lot of the times I'm like, is that like just so out of left field to talk about? But I still low-key think that like hip-hop is still gonna serve us something this year, if not next year. I want to say this year, but I was wrong last year, and I hate that I was wrong. It was like my Virgo like brat. Yeah, I don't know, maybe I was a tad early last year, but maybe this year. We're gonna say it one more time because I really do feel like it's gonna make a comeback. I feel like I could have talked about 20 more, so maybe follow me on TikTok if I think of any other. You gotta let me know what you think about these fashion trends. What are you most excited about that I talked about? Or give us your tea. What do you think is gonna be popular in 2022? And I really hope you have the best fashion year of your life. Fashion ho. That is it, y'all. Another one for the books. Let's see next year what I got right, what I got wrong, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.